Okay, if you guys were to guess one person for the content cop to be on, and not who you want it to be on, who you legitimately think it would be on, who do you think it would be? One guess, only one guess. Mine, I think there's a lot of potential candidates, but my one guess would be Deji. It would be Deji. That would be my one definitive guess. KSI. Yeah, I feel like Deji is more probable than KSI, because KSI, like Deji actually makes kind of bad content. And KSI doesn't really upload content that much. I mean, I think he's worthy of a content cop, but like, the thing is, Deji can have the personality, he can have the person and the content criticized. With KSI, I feel like he can only have the person criticized. But I could see, I mean, KSI could have one. It's always the person. Not always. Sometimes it's a mix. Like Leafy, for example. Leafy is with all the person and the content. Mostly the content, actually. Shane Dawson, personally, I would like I'm Alex, but I feel like Shane is the most likely. I don't know, man. IDubbbz is hard to predict. I know it's hard to predict, that's why it's kind of like interesting to think what you guys would think it is. His on Team, Tana, and Rice Gum were on the person. Yeah. I feel like it's a mix of both, though. I feel like it's never just the content. It's always the person or the person and the content. But I feel like if it's a bad person, if there's two choices and he has a bad person and then a bad person and bad content, he's gonna pick the bad person and bad content, right? And I'm not saying they're bad people, but I mean like criticism worthy, like content cop worthy. They're not actually like bad people. Like I don't even think Leafy or Rice Gum or Tana are bad people, you know, they're just content cop worthy. That's what I meant by bad person, but yeah. I'm Alex would definitely be my favorite content cop. I don't know if he would, because usually he could do Alex. If he does I'm Alex, holy shit. That'd be amazing. But I feel like the I'm Alex situation is, I feel like, usually he takes a couple months to make a content cop typically, so he could have made an I'm Alex one if he started working on it right when the situation happened. Or like right a bit after the situation happened. But I'm not sure. I think the next content cop is going to be the grand finale of content cop. I would actually like that. I think that'd be cool. Give it an official ending so people won't like beg for the next content cop anymore. And he can have like a nice final one to end it off. I think that'd be great. I actually hope he does that now. That'd be the most ideal scenario. He doesn't really do people who have been ragged on already, he does some more obscure YouTubers. Well, Deji really hasn't been... Deji has been ragged on quite a bit, but I don't really feel like his content has been ragged on as much as his person. And I feel like there's stuff to criticize on his person, and like criticizing his content is like a fresh kind of thing to do. That's why I think it's most likely to be on Deji. I think the second most likely is probably Trisha Paytas. Because I think there's a lot to criticize there that's kind of being overlooked for the most part. I'm Alex is a good choice as well, although I think I think his shit happened too recently for the next content cop to be on him. And there's stuff always new stuff coming out about him as well. The final content cop would need to be the ultimate content cop. If there's anyone that bad that deserves a huge video on them, I don't think so right now. Yeah, so maybe it wouldn't be the final content cop. Maybe it'd just be like a return episode. Like what if he continues making content cops after? That'd be cool. Or I think the top 3 possibilities in my opinion right now are Deji, Trisha Paytas, and no content cop, and he's trolling everybody. Those are the three most likely in my opinion. And I would only be comfortable saying that he was trolling everybody, I said this on After Hours, but I'll say it again, is if he doesn't have a content cop by the end of the year. So if it becomes January 2020, and there's no content cop, then I'd say he's done content cop, and he was trolling. Or he could make, yeah, a content cop on YouTube themselves. He could. I feel like that'd be boring, though. I wouldn't like that. Just like from an entertainment point of view, I think that'd be kind of bad, but... A Pewds content cop? That would be interesting. I'd be interested to hear what he says. The thing is, he's friends with PewDiePie, though. Like, PewDiePie was in his Rice Gum content cop. I don't think he would ever make a content cop of a person that he was friends with previously. Like, for example, it's like, so for example, I don't think he'd ever make an H3 content cop. I don't really think H3 deserves a content cop, though, right now. Like, I think he kind of did in the past, but then Gokunaru made, Video Vigilant, and I think that really said it all. I think that was basically his content cop. I'm Alex would be the worst character assassination because his character is already dead. Yeah, within the commentary community, in the broad scheme of things, Alex is still, like, okay. Like, no one super huge has made an I'm Alex video. Like, the biggest person is Kavos, and he still doesn't have as big of a reach as his sub count implies. Like, he's disavowed in the commentary community, but in the overall YouTube community, he's still a pretty good standing. A majority of content cop viewers are commentary, so it's not that much of a difference. It is a big difference. Content cops get 10 to 20 million views. The biggest video on I'm Alex has probably, like, not even 500,000 views. That's like, what, like 40 times more views? Like, Content Cop, the thing is, like, with Content Cop, when people talk about Content Cop, like, you have, like, normies, essentially. I hate that word, but I'll just use it for the sake of, like, for lack of a better term. Like, normies watch Content Cop. Like, just typical average viewers watch Content Cop who aren't, like, really that deep into commentary. I feel like only, like, kind of the hardcore commentary audience know about I'm Alex at the moment. No way his next one is on Trisha. She's, below sub-wise and he always punches up. I was thinking about that, but I don't think he always punches up. Because wasn't Trisha less, not Trisha, Tanamongu less subs than... I think Tanamongu had less subs than iDubbbz. I think he doesn't punch, like, super down. I think he does, like, he's not gonna do a content cop on, you know, fucking, someone with under 1 million subs. He's just not gonna do that. Also, Trisha's pretty big. Like, Trisha gets on Shane Dawson videos all the time. Like, she's not small. She's not small in real life or, in terms of YouTube relevance. Tana and more the same size. But he only did Tana because he went after him on Twitter. Yeah, I heard someone in the comment section of Augie's stream say, like, oh, iDubbbz only goes after people who go after him, which I don't think is entirely true. Because I don't think Leafy went after him. But yeah, typically he does go after people who go after him. So I'm thinking, like, who has gone after iDubbbz recently? Because that could be, like, a really good indicator of who the content cop's on. I don't think anyone really has, to be honest. He could also change the formula up. That's true. It's been it's been almost 2 years. Like, actually, it's been almost 2 years to the day. Like, aren't we coming up on the date the last content cop dropped? It was sometime in October 2017. So we're almost on 2 years. So he could change a lot about it. No, I think he was planning to do the content cop when he went, Oh! Yeah, I think Tana complained about him saying the N-word, and then he came to her convention to say the N-word in front of her to see how she would react. And that's kind of how it started, with his, wanting to do that. The meetup was after she cried, yeah. I just forgot the order of things. So yeah. Well, people have been complaining about demonetization and absolute trash copyright system. We need to change verification. He could do a content cop on YouTube, it would make sense. If he called it Content Cop Susan Wojcicki, that'd be really funny. But I just feel like it's over talked about now. Like, it's not that he wouldn't do it, it's just that I wouldn't want to see him do it. Like, people already make videos on that shit all the time. Like, for example, Nerd City's video just came out on that. Like, I don't know, like, there's so much better things to talk about in my opinion. Maybe just expose Beast on the commentary community as well. Yeah, that's another thing people have been speculating. I don't think it will be, but it would be interesting if it was. And I think that's something he could definitely pull off. I just don't think that's what he's doing. Again, my top 3 are no content cop at all, Deji, or Trisha. I would definitely say that a video on the broader commentary community could be, like, in the top 10 possibilities, for sure. Maybe top 5, I'm not sure. That'd be really funny though, like content cop videos. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I think he could pull it off really well. I would love to see something like that. It'd make the whole community go apeshit too. I would love if he did that. On a single individual? Yeah, it's crazy. Well, that's how everybody thinks, like anybody who's like a target of like the commentary community. But it is interesting that there's so much hype over one YouTube video. Like, it's not like hating on someone, it's like one YouTube video. Olimar's lazy as fuck in this game, I know, right? It's really slacking. Yeah, iDubbbz does like to fuck with people. It is a good prediction. Yeah, that's why it's my top 3 right now. I do think he should make a content cop though. Like, Augie was saying, like, he shouldn't make a content cop and this time has passed, and I understand his argument, and I kind of agree with it. But I do think it'd be, like, cool if he made another one. Just to say, like, see how it is, like. I think it's not gonna have the same impact as what it used to, though, for sure. Like, I don't think the channel's gonna lose, like, a ton of subs. It's gonna be a big thing as much as it used to be. But I don't know, like, I think the argument is, like, Augie thinks that, like, Content Cop is made to, like, destroy people's channels. Like, the goal of a Content Cop is to make someone lose all subs and credibility, but I think Content Cop was just made to have a nice laugh at, to just laugh at people. To laugh at the person who's the victim of the Content Cop. Or the target, or the subject, that would be a better word, the subject of the Content Cop. And just say, like, hey, there's a shitty person who makes shitty content. Fuck them, lol. But then, like, whatever comes after that, it's just, like, whatever. I don't think iDubbbz wants to end people's careers. He just wants to make a funny video. He wants to entertain people. Walks around and throws Pikmin for his own benefit. Content cop on Olimar? Hell yeah, dude. And if he makes a grand finale, it needs to be on himself, assassinate and kill off the series, so it'd be so poetic. Plus, he could be critical of his old shit. Plus, if he wants to move on, he could do more documentaries and shit. Assassinating his old character would be insanely brilliant in his own ways if you think about it. Maybe. I mean, I personally wouldn't enjoy that. Like, if he did that, no doubt it would be a good video and I'd enjoy it. But, like, the concept of that, like, I'd rather him do other things, personally. He's never gonna do content cop on himself. He said that on a podcast. Damn. When he did the content cop on Leafy, he did it because he was fed up with the way Leafy did his videos, and then he even criticized the fact that he really had no personality due to him repeating himself and not paying editors properly. True. Although I do feel like Leafy had his own type of appeal. I know I made it... A long time ago, I made a twit longer on... I made a twit longer on it wasn't my opinion on the Leafy content cop. I thought it was for a second, but I made a twit longer on my full-on opinion of, like, basically the whole Leafy situation, and what prompted it was his appearance on the Baited podcast. I'm kind of interested in hearing what I said in that, actually. I watched Leafy more because of the content cop. For me, I loved Leafy's content until he backstabbed Keem. Like, literally on the day he uploaded the Keemstar rant, I didn't like Leafy anymore. I knew that shit was bullshit from the beginning. It kind of boggled my mind why people didn't see it as bullshit, and my theory on it right now is, like, they just didn't really... Like, I watched a lot of Keem's streams on Stream Me, so I think I had a better grasp of his personality outside of Drama Alert, and not a lot of other people did. So it was harder to see that it was bullshit. They just took Leafy at face value, and I just knew it wasn't true inherently. Leafy was great for smaller channels. Sure, it was bullying. But it's attention from a big YouTuber. Yeah. I agree. I don't feel like many people capitalized off it that well, but I know that people were capitalizing off of it at the time. Wasn't Leafy's appearance on Baited after the content cop? Yeah, it was. So, like, the twit longer I wrote was more of a full... Like, this is my final opinion on the whole situation. Because that was pretty much the last meaningful thing to happen in the situation, was the Baited podcast. It's Wednesday, my dude guy blew up from him, Pokemon Go Kid, Billy the Fridge, and Tommy NC. Yeah, they all did. Although I don't think many of them capitalized off it to this day. Maybe Pokemon Go Kid capitalized off it the best. But none of them are really around today. Okay, let me go to my Twitter and see if I have it. It would be in memories. Does Twitch still have memories? Or Twitter? It'd be in Twitter memories. Memories or moments? Oh, moments. called moments. Where's my moment? Here. Okay, let me read this. This was made October 14th, 2016 by me. Who raped Bowblax? My opinion on Baited 10 and why I think Leafy's backstab wasn't a business decision. Leafy had some great points in the podcast for why he grew to dislike Keemstar over the 5 months he knew him, that I can get behind, but his 5 Keemstar videos don't reflect what he said on the podcast. He blew up all the points to make him look 5 times worse than they actually... He blew up all the points to make them look 5 times worse than they actually were, and removed all context that would have made Keem justified in what he did. Yet in the podcast, he brushes it off as some little details I left out. There was a lot he left out. But at the time, I think Leafy thought the details didn't matter on some points because on other points, which he didn't look into, I'll get into that later, Keem looks like an asshole to him. So in Leafy's mind, if Keem is a dick in these situations, why should I make him look better on these other points by pointing details if he is already a dick for doing these other things? I could have written this better, to be fair. Now let me explain why I think Leafy would have this mindset at the time. The reason I think he decided to slander Keem, that he didn't mention in the podcast, because it would have made him look like a pussy, is that Leafy was actually hurt by Keem's explosive personality and impulse to shit-talk his friends without meaning what he says. I came to this conclusion while listening to Leafy explain how offensive his 2009 racist trash talk match was, and how Keem keeps using troll/satire as an excuse to justify his trash talk battles. What Leafy doesn't realize about the situation, and what Keem never explained to him, is that the recipient of these insults knew it was a troll/wasn't serious. Therefore no harm was done. So he took his own experience of being offended/hurt by Keem and assumed everybody else felt the same way, which was an idea further enforced by the situations like the racist trash talk match, Smile for YouTube, Total Biscuit, and countless others where Keem said/did horrible shit to them. Now, all these situations have context and reasons behind them that put Keem in the right most of the time. But Leafy doesn't research/care about this stuff. People like Bionic Pig on his podcast Hot Wet Soup have said that Leafy has a tendency to skim through videos, which is why his iDubbbz and hey watch your mouth responses were so bad. Which means he saw situations in which Keem said horrible shit and thought they were real because he didn't look into anything besides Keem saying the horrible shit. That, combined with Leafy's personal experience with Keem, raging in Skype calls, is why I think he made the Keemstar Exposed videos and cut all communication with him. So basically, TLDR, Leafy got hurt by Keem's trash talk, others have been attacked by Keem in the past, doesn't look into it and assumes Keem is just a dick to everyone, so he overreacts and makes a shit ton of exposed videos on Keem, cutting all ties with him because he thinks Keem's a huge dick. As for the entertainment value of the podcast, there were a couple funny moments. My favorite part in the podcast was when Keem was ranting, when Keem rants super hard and Leafy's just like, are you gonna let me talk for 3 minutes straight? That was hilarious. XD. GG, great podcast. I think that was... Does that mean this entire twit longer is moot since Keem went unbaited and admitted it was a business decision due to his ad CPM being super high at the time, Lamau? I mean, this is a reaction to the opinion. Do I think I was... I don't know. I think I was right at the time. I think I'm still right on that. I don't know. It was 3 years ago, but... XD. That's like the stupidest part of the whole of the whole thing. I think the rest is fair, to be honest. What do you guys think of what I had to say in regards to that 3 years ago? Remember when Leafy went after H3 for being two-faced and everyone hated him for it, even though Leafy was right? He could have done it better by not constantly repeating one gotcha moment every time. Yeah, he really just didn't research things deeply enough. It's really what all these commentators do, though. Like, Leafy isn't even the only person who did this. He was just the most blatant example of it, especially since he was the biggest YouTuber at the time. Or the fastest growing YouTuber at the time, definitely the biggest commentator. Is that these people are really bad at researching shit. And it's why Nicholas DiOrio stands out so much, because he's the polar opposite. And it's why he can get to the bottom of all this shit. Because everybody else just really doesn't care to research and look into things fully, to the fullest extent. Which is why they always have to make, like, follow-up videos or whatever, and they probably just get lazy and are like, you know, I'll make a follow-up video if I have to, whatever, it's just for the money, I don't care. But it's just such a flaw. I kind of like the position H3 is in. They're, like, semi-dead. Like, no need to expose them or anything, because they aren't that relevant anymore. Yeah, H3's just whatever. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't have any real issues with him. I'm glad that he kind of, like, lost his reputation, though, for being perfect, because I feel like giving anyone that reputation is dangerous. It's not good for them, and it's not good for anybody else, because they take everything at face value and gospel. I feel like people who have that reputation right now are, like, iDubbbz, Nerd City, PewDiePie, a couple others, and they definitely earned that reputation, but I feel like having that reputation is just not... It just means that, like, people make mistakes. And it really puts them to way too high of a standard. And that's what happened with H3. And when you put too high of a standard, that's why you actually challenge Nerd City. No, I thought he was wrong, that's why. Nerd City and Nick do a really good job with the research, for sure. I mean, all these people earn the reputations. I'm not saying they don't deserve these reputations. I'm just saying that I'm saying nobody deserves a reputation that is so good that you would blindly believe everything they say. You can definitely be like, oh, well, it's probably true because it's coming from this person, but you wouldn't believe it 100%. You always be at least skeptical to some extent. About everybody. Even me. Even about me. No, don't be skeptical to the point where it's completely unreasonable. But be skeptical to the point where it's like, if you think something is not true, like, there's legitimate reason for it, don't be afraid to call it out. Like, if you think they're wrong, don't be afraid to call it out or, like, dismiss it because of their status, right? Like, like, for example, if, somebody else, like, if, let's say, the quartering does something, and PewDiePie does that exact same thing, but it's okay when PewDiePie does it because, you know, PewDiePie, he has a good reputation, he probably has, you know, good intentions in mind, or he probably researches fully, but then if the same thing happened to the quartering in an alternate universe, you'd be like, oh, whoa, quartering, what the fuck are you doing, fucking monkey? Like, you know... Like, rate people based off the action, not the person who does it. The person who does it, that definitely comes into account when you are measuring the validity of the statement. Like, yeah, I'm more willing to trust something PewDiePie says over the quartering, right? And I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt to an extent. But if you truly think that that thing is wrong 100%, you're not gonna just blindly say, hey, it's right because PewDiePie said it, right? So, and that's the type of reputation, like the blind loyalty that H3 had, and it bit him in the ass. And H3 isn't a bad person, but sometimes he says things that are questionable and should be called out, right? Especially on this podcast, because nobody's perfect, and that's fine. I say things that sometimes I probably shouldn't say. Same with everybody. And I feel like nobody should have this reputation where, like, they're immune to criticism. Like with the D-Live promotion, for example, PewDiePie promoted that, and there's a lot of signs for D-Live being sketchy, but a lot of people are like, well, PewDiePie did it, so it's fine. I'm like, no. Like, if there's all these facts to why this could be a bad idea, I'm not gonna just say, well, because PewDiePie said it, it could be okay. And it very well could be okay, but I'm not gonna say it's okay just because PewDiePie said it. That's not gonna be a huge... Like, if there's, like, actual concrete evidence on the contrary, beyond, hey, someone who has a good reputation said it. I don't know. It's all about, like, blind loyalty and blind hate. I just hate it when people are like, oh, just because he said it, he's wrong, or just because he said it, he's right, or whatever. Like, a perfect example of this is probably Andy Warski. So Andy Warski was the first person to come out and say that the James Charles accusations are bullshit. But everybody hated on his video and didn't believe him because Andy Warski said it. And guess who was right in the end? Andy Warski. Andy Warski was the first one to come out against James Charles and Taddy. Or to come out against Taddy in support of James Charles. And just because it was Andy Warski, people were like, oh, he's wrong. He's wrong. But they didn't look at the facts. They didn't hear what he was saying. So it's kind of like the opposite mentality. Leafy rushed things for money. Can't really blame him. Can't really blame him when he's making like 200k a month. Saying, yeah, I can't really blame him that much either. If I'm gonna be blunt, I don't like iDubbbz, or I don't think iDubbbz earned his rep. Laughing my ass off. Always think that his blow up was weird. I don't know. I think he makes funny content. I think iDubbbz and Colossal is crazy. Should do a collab content cop. That would be awesome. Colossal's another overhyped person. I agree. Although I have nothing against Colossal. I just think, as I said, nobody should have that reputation. Not even, like, even if fucking Jesus Christ came down and started making commentary videos, I would not suggest people put him on the same pedestal as some of the YouTubers that people do currently. It's not a diss against them in the slightest. I just don't think anyone should have that reputation, because it's always going to end badly for them. Like, H3 is the perfect example of that. So I'm glad that H3 doesn't have that pressure of him of people expecting him to be the perfect person. I disagree with both of your statements, but whatever your comments. GGG XD. I'm watching another streamer while because I want to play Jackbox. Hey, I should actually play Jackbox with my viewers. I have that game. It'd be fun. I don't know how many people are down for that, though. And I probably want a little bit more people watching in order to do that. Don't worry, you will never have the reputation. You are safe from that. Roasted pitch, lol. Andy, I'm 50-50 on. I think he makes some dumbass points at times, but then at times I feel like he adds something no one else can. I didn't know it was Andy Warski who said it first. I thought it was PewDiePie. I know it was Andy first and then PewDiePie. Although PewDiePie came up with it himself. It's not like PewDiePie copied Warski's idea. Warski just came out with it first. I have nothing against iDubbbz or Colossal as well. I just think their blow up in God status is gay. Yeah, I think God status of any YouTuber is just not okay. I can't wait for a video that says, Bowblax hates Colossal? Bowblax hates X person I said shouldn't have a God status? Fucking stupid. I really do agree with the whole no one should be held to that standard thing. Hell yeah. it's not good for them either. Like, it's not something I would personally want or anyone else would personally want. My favorite is the Bowblax hates skinny tweets. Yeah, that's just funny. I just have to be, like, very careful about what I say and go, like, really in-depth on what I mean, because I feel like whenever I say something, like, people just automatically think I mean it in the most negative way possible. And it's just not true. Like, I feel like if I didn't, like, put all that clarification into it, like, people would legitimately think I'm, like, calling Colossal's crazy, like, a bad YouTuber, Nerd City, like, a bad person or something like that, when I'm not saying that in the slightest. Just because they take the most negative connotation possible out of anything I say. And that doesn't just go for me, that goes for everybody. Like, I feel like everyone has all this, like, this pessimistic attitude when it comes to stuff. I don't really blame them, to be fair, but it is what it is. I think the content deputy on team would actually affect this channel. Oh, I'm not sure. It's really interesting because a content cop hasn't happened in, a content cop hasn't happened in, holy shit, there's a lot of barrels or fucking boulders. Fucking mundane Matt over here. Keemstar Part 2 would be interesting. I think you could pull it off. I don't know if you'd want to do that, though. Also, with Content Cop and its effect, it's really interesting, because we have no idea how a Content Cop would affect someone in current day. I feel like it's going to be less impactful than it was in the past, for sure. And I think that's what Augie was talking about on After Hours, but I just don't think that that would deter iDubbbz from making a Content Cop. For example, when Colossal did his Fousey videos, they were so good, I just kept rewatching because it was so funny and good, IMO. Yeah, dude, Colossal makes great content. He really needs to upload more, man. He said he was going to upload 10 videos this year, but it's October and he still hasn't uploaded a video. So either he's like telling the truth and he's like preparing 10 videos to upload on the last 10 days of December, or he did not live up to his promise. I love Nerd City, iDubbbz, and Colossal, but I wouldn't want to be held to that standard, because if I fuck up, it would mean so much worse for me if I wasn't held that way. Exactly. That's the issue with that. And also, I think it discourages critical thinking on the situation itself. People are more like, oh, he said it, so he's right, rather than actually thinking about the situation in depth and having more critical thought on what is being talked about. Like, for example, let's say with the demonetization list. Everyone took it at face value because Nerd City made it. What, did it end up being right? Yes, and I ended up being wrong in my opinion. And I'm fine to admit that. Because, I mean, it was only my initial reaction for the first couple hours, but the fact that no one would even be willing to look into if the list is bullshit or not, it's just like, why? And it's not like I thought it was bullshit as in I thought he was lying. It's more like I didn't think it was the most accurate list ever for various reasons. And it's just weird that, like, it's just worrying that no one would be willing to question that just because it came from a certain creator, right? Like, I'm sure if a different creator made that came out with that list, more people would be questioning it. I mean, he's definitely earned the reputation to warrant that type of response, but I don't know. I feel like everyone should be critical of everybody to at least some extent, just to, you know, not to hate, but just to, like, explore the topic more in depth. And, like, actually learn why stuff is happening rather than, like, oh, I just take someone at face value. Because even if we're critical of people that we know are right in the end, we still learn those, like, critical thinking skills for, like, other situations. Like, you've dealt with another drama scenario, so you can be like, oh, well, I'm gonna apply what I learned from that to this. And maybe in one case scenario you end up being wrong, but then, like, you learn about how to look into things or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I'm articulating myself to the best of my abilities, but... It's the unfair funniness parable you guys were talking about earlier. If it's well edited, people will believe it. Exactly, that too. It's crazy. Like, it's like, oh, this can't be wrong. Look at how well edited it is. It's like, dude, really? Really, man? Why less? I think he's gotten that 2-year hype surrounding a video that's already guaranteed 10 to 20 million views. I just think because YouTube's bigger. Like, I don't think it's gonna have as big of an impact. I think it might have the same impact, but just like in the Content Cop hasn't grown in the past 2 years. It's stayed the same size, but YouTube overall has grown. So it's going to have the same impact as it did before, but in the grand scheme of YouTube, that's smaller, percentage-wise. So like before, Content Cop could end your career. Now, it would put a dent in your career, but since your career is just like that much stronger, numbers-wise, than it was before, typically, it won't ever kill a career, right? I don't know if that makes sense. I just really don't think, like people have been and we've been through so much worse, too. Like, after the Tatty James Charles shit, like, I can't see... Basically, essentially what I'm saying is, like, I don't see the iDubbbz Content Cop making as big of an impact on a channel as the Tatty Westbrook video did on James Charles. Or how Twitter canceling Pro Jared did. But I could be wrong. Especially since, like, the thing that iDubbbz is gonna call out in a Content Cop typically isn't as severe as the James Charles and Pro Jared shit. Like, I doubt that iDubbbz is gonna make videos on false rape allegations or, like, stuff along those lines. I feel like he's just gonna criticize their content and their character and how they act, and that's about it. It's just, like, to be truly canceled, like, the stakes have been so much higher recently for being canceled that I don't think the Content Cop can live up to the standards, in the sense that I don't think the Content Cop is going to be on somebody who falsely accused someone of rape, or iDubbbz accuses someone of rape, or, you know, any extremely horrible shit along those lines. I think it's just going to be like, this person is dumb, his content is dumb, and people are, like, gonna be like, wow, that's pretty dumb, let's unsub. But then a lot of other people are gonna be like, well, he's not as bad as Pro Jared, James Charles. Well, I mean, obviously they've been vindicated, but, like, they're not as bad as what could potentially be, so it's not enough for me to hate them. That's essentially what how I see it going down. But obviously that's just my opinion and speculation, so we're not 100% sure on that. There's a lot I have to read, so I'm just going to keep the game paused and keep talking. And that video blew up due to affiliations, collabs, and how many people networked with, and it was a lot of people, including big people. That's the unfunniest parable you guys were talking about previously. If it's well edited, people will believe it. Yeah, I think I said that before. If videos to blow up, you need affiliates and collabs to share the video. However, the content itself is what makes or breaks a video. Remember Friday video when it got the most views but had the most dislikes? Yeah, true. Although people don't really have high quality, high standards for videos, so most videos people are gonna like just baseline. But Caraxus says exactly thus why his blow up in God Status is kind of a shit concept. It wasn't built on his consistently on his back, but the work and back of other people. Imagine being like, this room stinks, and then after the dog shit in it, then blowing up for having an infallible opinion not much after. He has other videos, sure, but how frequently? I have a huge video with 1 to 20 million views on his first days. New viewers are most likely going to see that huge video go viral, and it attracts us new people. That's a very good point. That counteracts some of what I was talking about, although I think some of what I said is also valid, even in that scenario. Anyone can look that good with that kind of time. Before Content Cop could end a career, nah, I never believed that Content Cop doesn't end careers. It doesn't even end Leafy's. That was more because of other things. That's very true. I don't know. I feel like the magnitude that people gave Content Cops, it seemed career-ending, but in retrospect, it really isn't. But it can be like a really reputation-ruining, and that's kind of what I mean by it. Like career-ending, as in like your reputation's done. But most people have built themselves up after that, so I guess temporarily career-end them would be a better term. But yeah. I think it's gay when people say they want a Content Cop on themselves and they don't even realistically hit this radar. The conversation's always the same. I mean, I'd like a Content Cop on myself. Is it gonna happen? Fuck no, but, you know, that's about it. Yeah, you make a good point that the drama standard is kind of higher due to James Charles and Pro Jared. Didn't think about that, yeah. That's kind of how I see it. Content Cop was an over-the-top satirical video. Yeah. The thing about Content Cop that people are not realizing is that it does have serious critiques in there, but it is ultimately a comedy video. I mean, he's going around, you know, in a cop costume, like, doing funny skits and acting like he's, you know, arresting these YouTubers. It's like a funny series that really turned into something a bit more serious later on, but ultimately it's still like that funny comedy series with a bit of like critique. It's like a critical comedy video. That's what it is. So, like, I feel like people overestimate its impact and importance. I feel like people overhype that shit a little bit too much in terms of like the impact it's gonna have. I don't know. I'm just excited to see the video, not because I want the person to get like canceled or whatever. I just want to see what iDubbbz has to say on it. I'm just interested in seeing a funny iDubbbz video. I'm not really interested in seeing like someone have their career ruined or whatever. It's not like I want a Content Cop because I'm like, grr, this person deserves a Content Cop to get off YouTube. Fuck him. It's more like I want a Content Cop because I want to see iDubbbz make a funny video. Literally the same conversation made a million times. I mean, the principle of the conversation is interesting. It's like, if I were to get exposed, specifically by iDubbbz, but I guess the conversation, the question could be in a broader sense as well by like anybody, what would I be exposed for and why and how? I feel like that's an interesting conversation within itself. But it doesn't really go much anywhere. And I guess the answer is always different because different people have done different shit, but I still think it's kind of an interesting conversation. Well, Ricegum said he wanted a Content Cop and he got one, and it really benefited him too. I think after the Ricegum Content Cop, people really realized that Content Cop isn't a negative thing, necessarily. Like, everyone was afraid of getting a Content Cop, and then a little after the Ricegum one, people are like, wait, this actually isn't that bad. Minus Deji, who do you think the Content Cop's gonna be made on? Either Trisha Paytas or nobody at all. Like, my top 3 right now in order is Deji, Trisha Paytas, nobody at all. 4th would maybe be Shane Dawson or Jeffree Star, one of the beauty community people. I think he could make a full content cop on maybe the entire beauty community, or either that or one specific person in the beauty community. I'm not too familiar with everybody in the beauty community, so I wouldn't know who specifically he would pick, but I'm sure there's like some really like good candidates for a video like that. And I'm not sure that Jeffree Star or James Charles would be the best ones. Those are just the only 2 I'm really familiar with, so. I've seen the conversation begin and end in the same way. About so many smaller YouTubers and it's annoying at this point. Oh, I haven't really seen it talked about much, so I don't know. It doesn't really seem like a very lengthy conversation. It's more just like the one sentence, like, it'd be cool, but it'll never happen, the end. So I don't know how it can get annoying if it's like that short of a conversation, but I don't know, I don't really know who you've watched who talked about it, so. But, I mean, anything being talked about to a great extent just naturally becomes annoying, so I get you, for sure. Just isn't annoying for me yet, I guess, because I haven't heard it enough. Everyone he trolled everyone by titling it Asian Jake Paul. Yeah, that was pretty funny. My point is that smaller YouTubers are saying that, and that's annoying. Yeah, true. Obviously don't know iDubbbz, but from podcasts he's on and videos where he's more of himself, I think he doesn't like just how much power people put on Content Cop. I think he's much more down to earth and normal than people think. Oh no, I'm near the end of the stream. Yeah, you are near the end of the stream. I don't know how long I'm going to be streaming for. I've been streaming for 3 hours almost. Might go for a bit longer. I'm kind of enjoying the stream now. For the first 2.5 hours, I was kind of like, eh, but the last 1.5 hours has really flown by in my opinion. Because we're just constantly talking about Content Cop. It's kind of a much more interesting discussion than I thought it would be, to be honest. Just how everyone thinks in regards to the Content Cop. Because, like, I guess I've only been, like, a relevant voice in the commentary community for the last, like, year, almost? Like, probably less than a year. So I never really got a chance to talk about, like, what I think about Content Cop and all these topics and stuff that happened in the past. And I was paying attention. I definitely had opinions, but I didn't get to express them. So it's interesting to express them now and hear what you guys have to say and stuff like that. So I'm enjoying the stream quite a bit, but I want an iDubbbz competitor. I wanted an iDubbbz competitor in the past. Now I just want more documentaries and not chain documentaries. Yeah, dude, chain documentaries are like, they're good, but there's too much padding. I feel like they're fine to watch at 2x speed or 1.5 times speed. I've been enjoying them at 1.5 times speed. But if I were to watch them at normal speed, I'd want to kill myself. I watched a full Eugene Cooney. I was watching the Eugene Cooney one with somebody else, so I watched that at normal speed. And dude, that shit was so boring. The Eugene Cooney documentary. Ugh. But the Jeffree Star one's a bit better. I like it. Couldn't finish the latest one. It felt like it was just him hanging out with a friend in the high life when I skimmed it. That pretty much is what it is. Like, the most meaningful moment was like, oh my god, I could have made more money off my merch. And then he went in the bathroom and he was like, dude, I've been getting scammed this whole time. I could have made so much money off my merch. I would have been a millionaire by now. Oh my god. And it's like, okay, dude. You're making it, like, so dramatic as if, like, you're homeless now and you could have, like, lived in an actual house if you sold that merch properly. It's like, dude, you're still well off. Like, I don't know. Like, how upset can you really be? Like, if I found out that I could be making, like, $1 million instead of a couple $100,000, I wouldn't be that fucking devastated. Like, I'd be like, oh, well, at least I got the opportunity to make that much money in the first place. Maybe I'm gonna be smart in the future. And then, he's also gonna have the potential to make a shit ton of money with his makeup that he's making anyway, so like why would he even be upset? I don't know. I guess just for the video. And then like the biggest reveal in the video is like, this is never talked about outside of video, but the normal price to make makeup is $3, but they mark it up to 80. Me, Jeffree Star, though, it costs 20 to make, and I only mark it up to 30 or 40. And it's like, okay, well, clearly you can afford that if you're gonna make a video where you say that you're more reputable than the other makeup companies, and you just make up for all of that and fucking profit, because that's a huge sales tactic right there. Being like, you're getting more bang for your buck with this. It's like subtle advertising. Like, literally, the whole series is just advertising for Jeffree's product and Shane's new product that's gonna come out. That's literally what it is. Shane documentaries went down the shitter. I'm in the field of it's not gonna happen at this point. I love both Colossal's Crazy. I love both the Content Cop and the docu he made, but I'm not sure what I love anymore. I really liked the Airsoft Fatty documentary that iDubbbz made. It was really good. Shane's documentaries went down the shitter, kind of. I still kind of like Shane's style and personality, so, and I know it's really subjective, but I'm still kind of fond of it, so it's not really, I still like it. Honestly, I still like it, but I can see why people don't like it. And I have those same criticisms, but I still just like it regardless of those criticisms, right? I couldn't finish the last one. Yeah, I already read that. They Were Always Bad. He made a good one, the Tana one, but the rest suck. I think the Jake Paul one was okay. The documentary word is fucking dead. True. That's why I said they went down the shitter, lol. They were good at first. I'm sure it costs $20 to make. Jeffree Star could get hit by a bus for all I care. I hated that dude for a long time. Damn. Yo, how's he gonna complain about money when he gets brand deals on those videos with like 20 million views? Exactly. He's living comfortably. You've seen his house. It's just that he's sad he couldn't be like a fucking multi-millionaire. Which he's going to be. He's going to be. His friend, Jeffree Star, is literally handing him like millions of dollars in profit on a silver platter. Like, he's like, I'm gonna do everything for you. All you need to do is pick the colors and pick the names of your makeup and put your face on it, and I'll do the rest. And you get majority of the profit. Like, he's literally setting James up to be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire. Or no, he's setting Shane up to be a multi-millionaire. Which, I mean, in Jeffree's position, I'd probably do that too, because you're doing that for a friend. It's cool. I'd probably do that for a friend as well in his position. But it's just what's happening. I'm not really against it, it's just what's happening. And it's just interesting. You know they're paying him enough to adopt 100 Ethiopian kids. True. Documentaries over Content Cop. Honestly, I like iDubbbz's Airsoft Fatty video more than any Content Cop. And I said this on Twitter when it came out. Shane Dawson always tries to make it seem like he's going to expose someone and reveal some secret, but then you watch it and it's bullshit. Yeah, it's either bullshit or it's like kind of true. It's like, we all knew this. Like, we all knew that, you know, makeup costs significantly less to make than it does to sell, and they mark it up like way too high. We already know that they mark up clothing and fucking makeup and all the shit way too high and just mass produce it in China. It's already well known. Like, what? He's acting like it's a big deal. The only bad thing about Content Cops is that they don't hold up compared to the documentaries in a few years' time. True. But the Content Cops are still nice to go back to as well. I don't know Shane over-dramatized the documentaries to the point where it's not really about awareness, but more about humanizing people that's like the opposite of Content Cop. Yes, exactly. I've always called Shane's documentaries anti-Content Cops. They literally try to vindicate people who look bad in the community rather than make people look bad who kind of look okay. Like, for example, the Jake Paul documentary makes you feel a bit for Jake Paul. Jeffree Star was very controversial when he made his first docuseries on him. He vindicated him as well. And a lot of people like Leafy were well liked until the IDubbbz content cop, you know? So, it is like a opposite content cop. Boo-hoo, he cries about not making more money, yet he fucking ruined a 13-year-old's life with false accusations. Damaging James' profit margins. If James was Jeffree, he'd still be crying. True. I'm really interested to see how they make that seem okay in the documentary. I know it's gonna be bullshit in some way, and the second I see it, I'm gonna be calling it out, but I'm just waiting for that. Okay, here's a conversation about Mr. IDubbbz that no one has had and hasn't, and isn't as over talked about if he ever makes another documentary on some who... Wait, let me read it. Here's a conversation about Mr. IDubbbz that no one has had, and isn't as over talked about if he ever makes another documentary on someone. Who do you think it will be on? Review bruh is my guess. Sorry, I couldn't read your thing properly because there wasn't a lot of punctuation, so I kind of got a bit confused. And I read review bruh as like you putting two words and accidentally putting them together. I get what you're saying though. So basically, who do you think IDubbbz is going to make a documentary on? And I do think he's going to make more of his documentary videos. He said he would at the end of the Airsoft Fatty video. I feel like he can make a documentary on anyone because Airsoft Fatty is a smaller YouTuber than IDubbbz, and he was relatively unknown, and he was just interested in him. And he said there's a lot of kooky characters he wants to make videos on, so I think he's going to make videos on people who have like kind of a niche audience, who are kind of like humble and down to earth, kind of similar to Airsoft Fatty. So it's impossible to predict who he would make a documentary on, because I think whoever he makes a documentary on, we don't really know about yet. And we might know about him, but not as much as we should. I think Ricky Berwick would be a good one to do. Ricky goes to Vegas and tries to pick up chicks. Yeah, dude, I think Ricky Berwick one would be amazing. I think he should do one on Ricky Berwick. I don't know if he necessarily will. It's harder to predict the documentary ones just because there's so many people you could choose from. But I would like a Ricky Berwick one. Shane immediately cut times with James after Taddy's video, even though it's BS. If he doesn't acknowledge that in the video, then it's bullshit. True. I hope it's real. And the whole thing about Shane Dawson's documentaries is that he brands it as like, this is the real shit. Like, even in the intro to the beautiful world of Jeffree Star that has been in the first two videos, and I assume will be in the rest of the series, is that this is real and unscripted, and everything that was talked about in this room was recorded and real, and we're giving you the real tea and shit like that. But if they, like, fucking start lying about stuff that went on during the James Charles situation, and he isn't truthful about, like, Jeffree probably backstabbing him and Shane jumping the gun on defending James Charles instead, if they try to justify their actions rather than apologize for them, then that whole series is bullshit.